We're going to start off with Dr. Umar Johnson. He sat down.
I'm up early. Let's get it.
Yeah. He sat down with Joe Budden, and they had some dialogues that have been going viral. And I'm going to play this particular clip. We'll talk about it.
Let me ask you an example. Kobe Bryant.
Let me ask you a question.
Kobe Bryant.
I want to ask you a question.
Kobe Bryant died. Vanessa inherited his wealth.
Sure.
And guess what? Is Vanessa Bryant using any of that black man's money to do any good in the black community?
Let me ask you
absolutely fucking not.
We don't know
Vanessa
that.
Bryant. Listen,
I don't know.
I'm telling you.
How you know? You know?
Bryant,
Let me ask you a question.
But wait.
she's a public
Can I
figure,
ask you a question?
and she just
You
did.
don't know
You
that.
didn't see that
You
initiative.
don't know
I
that.
do know. I do know what I'm telling you now.
Let me ask you a
Vanessa
question.
Bryant just started an initiative with 3 predominantly white colleges, some sort of a sports initiative with Kobe's money and Kobe's name. Didn't choose a single HBCU.
Let me ask you a question.
With a black man's money. Marvelous Marvin Hagler is a white widow using any of Marvelous Marvin Hagler's fortune to help black folks.
You're being unfair.
I'm being unfair how?
No, let me tell you why.
Expecting white women to use black money to help black people?
No.
How is that unfair?
Because the same way you naming these people, we can name mad black wives that got black money from their husbands that did shit to help black people. Well, stop. It's my goal. No, it's not.
We own. And you know what the difference is?
You're wrong.
You know what the difference is?
You're wrong. You're wrong.
If I marry a white woman, when I die, my wealth goes to the very people who have robbed everything from my community.
It's not true.
But
let me ask you. Let me ask you.
So that's just a clip right there. I guess we can just take that and run with it. That's a lot of different ways this topic can go. I'm gonna let you go ahead and knock it out first, man.
How long have we known about Umar Johnson? Let me see. The farthest I started really knowing who this brother was
I was like 2014, 2015, maybe a little earlier.
probably a little earlier.
Right.
Right around that time, right? That was 2015 was 8 years ago now, almost. Going 8 years ago.
Going on 9.
9. Okay.
Yep.
So 9. Let's just say 9.
Right.
I've watched videos of him dating back to 2012, but I didn't really hear his name until about the same time, right? So 14, 15 years in this game, in this community. And for those who haven't seen him for the last 14, 15 years, those who have know that we've been hearing the exact same thing for the last 14, 15 years. That'll be my foundation of this.
Yeah.
When you start hearing things like that, you could tell that his blood was warming. He was feeling excited. The lights were shining. The cameras were on. Umar Johnson was on stage, ready to put in work. Voices all raised up. He's just throwing shit out there. And here comes this woman, Vanessa Bryant, who had nothing to do with nothing, and you want to tell her what to do with her money. Regardless of what you think about, Kobe's no longer here. That woman's raising his children. That woman has to deal with that man's death. No care what y'all say, right? You have the nerve to talk about her money. My brother, what have you done with the people's money the last 14 years?
Ooh.
When you've been begging in for donation after donation after donation to build a school, and you got this dilapidated building in this pedophile hood-infested, dirty-ass place out in Delaware, and you want to pass that off, and people aren't allowed to bring that up because this brother speaks so eloquently, because he says so many things. Oh, because he puts on shea butter and his brown skin shines like the goddess of Egypt every time he speaks. Man, it's so much rhetoric and bullshit. Meanwhile, he's robbing y'all, or he was. And you know what? I really didn't have a problem.
Money.
He's still collecting money.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with him because I kind of put him in this box of just the personality. I told you that maybe a couple months ago.
Right.
He's no longer affects me because he's a personality.
Right.
But when you start throwing this kind of stuff out there and you start talking about people's money, nigga, what you do with our people's money? What you do with the donations that you got?
Right.
You won't even give a proper book on that, but that's beside the point. We've talked about that and regurgitated that till our faces were blue, and that doesn't matter. People do not care. I'm about done, man. What's your thoughts, brother?
I have to ask to say. See, and they always say, like, it's a scripture in the Bible that talks about how could you try to remove a speck from my eye when you got a plank in your eye? And you got to deal with, when you're asking Vanessa Bryant what she did with the money, we're going to turn it back on you. And like you said, what'd you do with the money that you got from the black community? And really, what have you done in the last 10 to 15 years but talk, just like everybody else did? Have you ever worked in a school? Are you working in schools? Are you really saving black boys like you say, or are you just talking? Because last time I checked, this is probably back in 2013, 2014, You said that you was going to build a school because black boys was going through genocide. So you wanted to save black boys. To date, you haven't been accountable with the money. Nobody knows how much money you got, even though you're supposed to be an open book because of your tax status. You're supposed to show your books. You never show those. You know what I mean? You never, ever gave an account to the people that gave you their hard-earned money, the single mothers, the businessmen, all the people out there. You never accounted for that money, but you got a building, but you never opened up a school to date. So we are, over the years, we've been asking you, like, dog, what have you done with the money? Oh, use a hater. Use this. You that. Oh, only the donors could do. Nah, dog. The leaders that you compare yourself to, that you wanted to be in the vein of, they didn't have to go through that. They was transparent. They was open books. They really meant well for the people. And I'm not sure if Umar is that. I feel like Umar Johnson is just like you said, a figurehead, a talking head. He says a lot of good stuff. And that's the problem with the black community. We just want to hear people talk good. It don't matter what they do with the money. It don't matter what they do in their lifestyle. Just talk good. Entertain me. I don't care what you do in your personal life. You could be doing whatever you want to do, but just make me feel good. And that's the issue. We don't hold our so-called leaders accountable. We don't hold our entertainers accountable. We don't hold our rappers accountable. We don't hold the politicians accountable. All we want to do is hear a feel-good speech, and that's all that Dr. Umar Johnson has done. I can't point to anything he has done, but just make us feel good. And that's the same message that you go against other people with. It's the same shit you do. You're just making us feel good. No different than a pastor.
And
no
it's going to be, my bad. It's going to
good.
be people in the comments, oh, well, why don't y'all go at white people like this? Or why don't y'all go at this? Why don't y'all go at that? Here's my counter, because we've never counted with this before, but here it is, and I dare you to answer it. Are Jewish people worried about what we doing? Are they worried about, are Asian people worried about what we doing? Are Middle Eastern people worried about what we redoing to where they're talking about that? Or are they checking themselves and taking care of themselves, doing right for themselves, holding themselves accountable, and taking care of their business accordingly, and not giving a fuck about what anybody else is doing? So you want us to not hold our people accountable and look at what other people are doing and point the finger at other cultures. Meanwhile, they got their own shit on lock. They good.
Right.
What we need to worry about them for? Let's worry about us so that we can advance, so that we can have more people in the hierarchy when it comes to finances and wealth and generational wealth when it comes to our people. Where we can have hospitals to lean on, where we can have schools to lean on, where we can have multimedia broadcasts to tell our stories in an entertaining fashion the right way. There's a place in the lane for everything.
Right.
But we want to talk and go against each other and do all this bullshit and worry about what somebody else is doing, that we refuse and just completely disregard holding our own people accountable. It was a boy that aspired to go to Umar's school, who's now a man that has his own. Think about that.
It's the excuse. See, boys make excuses. Men get shit done. You can make, oh, the HVAC, oh, this, oh, I ain't got enough. Oh, nah, people got it done, bro. Like, dude got it done. People got schools out there. You wanted to put yourself in position to be this messiah, and you failed the people, in my opinion. Now, you could still, like we were saying in the car before we was coming in, was like, even if Umar got to school and had it open for 6 months to a year and he failed, I'm throwing my cool.
Bro, hero.
You're a hero, but you never did that. Now, I'm going to deal with the other aspect when he talks about the whole wealth thing, because there is truth to it, right? But the thing is, like, with Vanessa, like the dude was saying, I sit next to Joe Button, how the hell do we know what they're doing with the money? Just because she did one thing with so-called white colleges don't mean that she ain't do other things with the money. We don't really know that.
We have no idea.
We don't have no idea.
Nope.
So it's just like you just kind of just saying shit just to get a headline and whatnot. We don't know what they did with the money. And, yeah, it would be great for her to do stuff for the black community with the money, but nobody's obligated. Just like you didn't do nothing with the money, right? We would love to see it. We salute people that take their money and do stuff for the black community. Yeah, we do. But, hey, her community is a Spanish community. Maybe she want to do something for them. That's the choice that Kobe made. That's the choice that he made. You know what I mean? So what can you say about it, man? He didn't find a black woman. That's just what it is.
And we have no idea, black, white, Spanish, whatever,
Right.
If she gave money to a local school.
You never know.
If she gave money to single mothers out there, we have no idea. Because it's not publicly reported doesn't mean it wasn't done. And when you start talking about billionaires' money and you start throwing it out there like that, in your seat, brother, in your seat, knowing the amount of money that you've received, I would like to say taken, we'll put received out there from the people. The nerve of your ass to even have somebody, but see that he was excited, the lights were shining,
Yeah.
the shea butter was, you know what I mean, coming off that camera just right,
Yeah.
and he was running his mouth, and
Those you see those Joe Budden's podcasts, no disrespect, but them dudes is not intellectual enough to joust with a guy that likes Dr. Umar Johnson.
Not
Not
like
saying
that.
that he's smarter, but he's so seasoned. He has this stuff. He's like you said. He's been saying this shit for 15 years. It's regurgitated. It's like a script at this point. He gonna kick your ass.
Yep.
But if you come into a podcast like this, we're gonna be able to joust with him. We're gonna be able to get there with him because we know his rhetoric. We know what he's gonna say already. We done heard the talking points, and we know the right questions to ask him. That's why he'll pick and choose the podcast that he goes to. Yeah, he might have had a little confrontation with Joe Budden, but he was cooking them dudes. He was cooking them.
you know why?
Right.
Brother had a lot of good points and was trying to cut him, but Omar kept cutting him off, because he knows what he's
Debater.
doing.
Right. Yep.
He knows not to allow you to say anything and be the loudest and you see the voice start raising and all this. He has to be the one that you hear.
Right.
And that's where it's like, nah, dog, cut that shit. Nah, play. We ain't even gonna give up the blueprint, but it is what it is, bro.
Yeah, and so that is what it is, man. Still hope the best for the brother. Don't want to see nothing happen to Dr. Umar or whatever. But at this point, like again, he's a public figure, so we'll definitely speak on him. We feel like it's a need to speak on it, man. Speaking of somebody else to speak on, man, Tasha K, dog.
Man.
Tasha K got